We're on.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Frank Telewski here at Michigan State University. I'm a professor of the Department of Plant Biology and the director of the W.J. Beale Botanical Garden and Campus Arboretum. And I love trees.
Very good. So what is arboriculture to you?
Arboriculture is the stewardship and caring for trees. You have to look at trees as a living organism and not just a commodity, not just something that can be pruned and shaped any way you want to do it. You need to understand something about the tree's ecology, something about the tree's biology, its physiology, its development, its place in the environment. And with arboriculture, you're dealing with a changed environment. You're dealing with the urban environment, the developed environment. And this puts a whole set of constraints on trees that we need to understand. And so as arboriculture continues to develop, we increase our knowledge and our awareness of trees, their place and their role in our environment, if you will, within our urban environment, and how to better take care of them so that they can take care of us.
Okay, so how did you see arboriculture change throughout your journey?
Oh gosh, it's kind of hard to say. I've not been an arboriculturist. I've been a plant physiologist, tree physiologist for most of my career. Although for the last 20 or so years I've been working closely with arboriculturists, particularly here on the campus in the tree evaluation. From what I've gleaned from being involved in arboricultural meetings, there's been a lot of change, some very positive things, I think, with the ISA training in arboriculture. More concerns about human and worker safety issues, better climbing techniques, better pruning techniques, understanding more about that tree environmental relationship in terms of how to care for trees. There's been an increased awareness of trees in our urban environment and how to care for them, how to plant them properly. It's interesting when you see some of the old presentations, some of the old timers give a presentation kind of reminiscing at some of the conferences I've been at. And you see filling cavities of trees with cement.
Right.
You'll see some of the really odd cabling techniques that were just in their infancy. But how do we learn? How do we learn about medicine to take care of our own bodies? How do we learn better ways of conducting agriculture? It's through experimentation, and inevitably we make mistakes.
Okay.
But the most important thing is that we make mistakes and we learn from the mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, but if we don't learn from those mistakes, then we're condemned to repeat those mistakes. And I think that one of the things that I see is with arboriculture changing is increasing awareness through training and through communications to try to dispel some of these long-term, long-held notions about trees that maybe are folklore and have nothing to do with biology or ecology. And moving forward to really understand that dynamic. How do trees respond to wind? How do trees respond to drought? How do trees respond to climatic change? How do trees respond in a tight urban environment? The below ground situation has been an area that's been well developing in the last 10, 20 years, which really below ground aspects of tree growth roots has been almost completely ignored.
Right.
And yet it's really the critical part of the tree.
Would you say we have some tools or techniques now to explore that environment like we never had before?
There are a number of things out there, I think, that can address looking at trees from both above ground and below ground aspects. And the new technologies that we have to be able to look at roots. One of the things, very simply, something as simple as an air spade, to be able to non-destructively remove soil from around the root areas and actually look at those root junctions, to some of the ground penetrating radars and some of the other techniques that we have to really begin to understand what's happening in this dense medium that we really can't see through, like we can so easily the air when we're looking at the crown of a tree.
Right.
But computer modeling, video techniques, some of the new computer technologies that we have in image processing, allowing for real-time image analysis of tree motion, of tree failure. All of these things afford us some incredible insight into how trees grow and develop and respond to their environment.
And so results of these experiments and this research, how about the sharing? I've heard that you cooperate with many organizations and people around the United States and the world, and would you say things like social media or other networks help share that knowledge? Does it make a difference?
Yeah, I think that communications is very critical, and certainly before there was social media, there were conferences, there were workshops, there were ways to bring people together. usually involving travel. Not everybody was fortunate enough to be able to afford to travel to a conference or afford a conference registration fee. So those would put limitations on certain individuals. Certainly the internet eliminates that, social media eliminates that. I think that social media has a great benefit to increase knowledge and awareness of proper science with trees, but it also has a tendency to be negative. It can spread rumors or falsehoods, or reinforce misconceptions or misperceptions about trees, just like any other social aspect.
So it's a double-edged sword, yeah.
Yeah. So we have to keep that in balance and keep that in check. And I think as arborists, we need to be as professional as possible and question things. In science, we're always questioning things, and try to seek the answer, and not be intimidated if we find the answer, but yet we create 5 more questions.
I like that. One last question. Where would you like to see arboriculture in the future?
Oh, gosh. I would like to see arboriculture continuing on its path and development, but I think more importantly, I would like to see arboriculture accepted socially and politically more completely at the government level, whether it's local city government, municipal government, county government, state government, federal government levels, that people who make decisions that impact urban forestry, that impact urban trees, planting of trees, removal of trees, power utility companies that do so much work and rely so much on the relationship of trees and their power lines and infrastructure, to make informed and proper decisions about tree management and have a better understanding of trees, and to be able to rely on well-trained and knowledgeable arboriculturists to help them make the critical decisions they need to be making.
So education is where it's at.
Education and communication is so incredibly important. In my case, I've always wanted to study trees as a living organism. I wanted to know why trees grow, how trees grow, what trees need to grow. I didn't want to think of them in terms of board feet.
Right.
But that didn't preclude me from working with timber companies or arboriculturists or any other organizations.
So building bridges.
To build those bridges and share that information that could help them. And there's a lot of information that arboriculturists have just simply from their day-to-day practice working among trees that I listen to when I go to conferences or workshops, because those questions that are brought to me and those observations that are brought to me help me fill my knowledge about trees and ask critical questions. And say, wow, that's really interesting, that observation you had. Let me see if I can find anything out about that, or what might be causing that.
So you're saying that even though you're an expert and you might go somewhere to give a talk, you will talk to regular folks and hear those questions, and that will help you fill in the gaps.
For me, that's the most rewarding part of going to a conference or a workshop. I know my material. I can lecture on my material. It's fun. I enjoy sharing my passion about trees with others who are passionate about trees. But for me, intellectually, the stimulating part is the give and take conversation, the sharing of experience, the sharing of knowledge, the asking of questions. There's so much yet to know about trees. We know a lot about trees. We know more about trees than we did 100 years ago, but there's still a lot we don't know about trees.
Very good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.